Hi there, Heather Steves here, and today I want to share another page with you in my race day journal. So I went ahead and cut out some of these film strips from the 2159 Remember set, and I had my photos sized up to fit into that. So I'm just trimming them up just to make sure that they're going to fit nicely in these openings. So one thing I noticed as I was doing this is that in this two window frame, both the windows are not identical in the size. They're very close, but I did notice a slight difference. So I'm just kind of making sure that I have things placed properly so that they're going to fit in there nicely and that I don't trim too much off of my photo. Instead of taking all this time to trim these photos, I could have just cut it out with the original die cut and then it would have sat in nicely, but I just didn't want that look where you can kind of see the edge of the photos. So my next step was to ink distress these film strips. I just grabbed my dark brown ink just to make sure that there was no white edges of the core of the paper showing. And then I grabbed these black cardstock strips. So I hadn't originally planned this out, but as I was going, I thought I did want to actually cover those openings. So I just trimmed up some of these strips and then I just attached them over top of those edges just to give a little bit more definition to the film strip. One thing to note is that the edges of them are not like a straight line, so you do have to do a little bit of trimming, which is what you see me doing there, just to make sure that it looks nice and neat and clean. And once I had finished with that, then I could attach my photo into the back of that. So I realized after I had done that, I didn't have to trim up the top and bottom as close, but it doesn't matter. I have a little bit of overlap there just to attach that down, which is what I did. And then I did the same for the smaller frame, and I added my photos into that as well. I started to use the liquid adhesive, and then I realized that I would probably be better off using my tape gun because it would give me a little bit more of a chance to play around with the photos. And I wouldn't end up with like leakage because the strips on the ends of those are so small. So I'm just making sure that I'm folding back my tape strip so that it's not going to be on top of my photo. And then I attach those two photos into those openings. So now I'm just playing around with the layout on my pages, and I grabbed out the little pocket die here from the 2160 Romance collection, but I changed my mind and I went with this circle from the 2163 Journal Sleeves Fillers 1 set. And then I grabbed some cheesecloth from my stash. I'm just cutting out some bits of that so I can play around with those and add that to my layout. So once I had cut out this fancy circle in my off-white cardstock, I decided that it was a little bit too bright. So I grabbed the brown ink and I just ink distressed the edge of it, but I didn't really like that color. So I ended up grabbing some gray ink from my stash and I tried that, and I actually colored the whole thing, you can see. And I actually like that color a lot better. It seems a little bit of a odd color to choose, but it kind of does match the very background color in my papers. So I attached that down to my page, and I was quite happy with how that worked out. So next I just started playing around with the placement of the cheesecloth. So this is not something that I do very often. So it did take me a little bit of time to try and figure out how I really wanted it to sit. So I kind of bunched it up and then I opened it up again, and I ended up settling on it being more open, but I felt that I needed to put another piece up at the top there. So once I kind of got those positioned more or less where I wanted them, I grabbed my liquid adhesive and I just started adding a few little spots on there because then that will attach to my paper. And hopefully it should hold all of that cheesecloth in place. So you saw I also put my tape gun on the back of that photo, and then that will hold everything in place. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut another one of those circle dies and ink that up for the other page. And this time I decided to cut it in half and use 1/2 on each side, so that it would just add a little bit more interest to that film strip. And once those were attached, I grabbed out some more of the cheesecloth and started to try to figure out how I wanted that to be on this page. So I had this big piece, and I thought that it might work because it was going underneath the entire piece, but I didn't like how that was feeling for me. So I just cut up into a smaller piece, and I liked that much better. So I added a piece on both of those circles, just to add some more interest to the page. And then I did the same thing that I did on the other page. I added some tape for my tape gun to the back of the photo, and then I just added some little blobs of liquid adhesive, and then that will help hold everything down. So I decided to keep this page fairly simple. So I wanted to grab one more little embellishment to put there. So I have this little die that's from the 2159 Remember set also, and it says Friends. It has a few little flowers on the one side, and then it has like a little high-heeled shoe on the other side. So I ended up inking those up and getting them ready, but then I decided to cut off the flowers and the shoe because it just didn't really suit my photos. So it just says Friends, and it was really easy to trim that up neatly, the word and then the background also, and then that was just the little finishing touch for my page. And now my layout is complete. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and have yourself a wonderful day.